Verse 6 ended off in the last session with the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. You see, it was the wealth that kept them from doing that. Well, we will continue today in this sad, sad tale of a family splitting. In Genesis chapter 13, 7 to 11, we continue. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife. I pray, please, let there be no strife between me and thee, and between my herdsmen and thy herdsmen, for we be brethren. In modern English, that would say, we're brothers, we're family. Why all this fighting? Is not this whole land before you? Well, separate yourself then. Yes. Separate yourself then. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right. And if you go to the right, I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And it looked just like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as you come to Zoar. Then Lot chose for himself all the plain of Jordan. And Lot journeyed east. They separated themselves, the one from the other. Oh, as we will see later on, this is a really sad, sad story. So the employees of Abram and Lot were fighting among themselves. They fought over their rights. Whoa. That sounds like the start of a trade union, doesn't it? These cowboys were fighting over grazing rights. As employees of Abram and Lot, they directly represented Abram and Lot. Folks, this was serious. And verse 7 makes a special point of mentioning the Canaanite and the Perizzite people dwelling in the land. Abram and his family and workers, who claimed to be worshipers of the true God, were leaving a very, very bad witness in the eyes of the idolatrous inhabitants of the land. Never mind that. This infighting made them weak against the enemy, who were the Canaanite and the Perizzites. Now Abram addressed this issue as he spoke to Lot. Please, let there be no strife between me and thee, for we are brothers. They were family, and they should have been sharing. Instead, they had a toxic relationship as they competed against each other. Lot was offered the pick of the land of Canaan. Wherever he would settle, Abram would avoid it, just to keep the peace. In this, Abram was extraordinarily generous. From a hill just east of Bethel, one had a clear view of southern Israel and the Jordan Valley. Israel is not a big country. And the saddest phrase that we read here is, and Lot lifted his eyes. The lush vegetation was compared to the Garden of Eden and the most fertile area of Egypt. Don't think for a moment that this was coincidence. Egypt was mentioned here purposely to illustrate where Lot's mind was at. Lot greedily chose all the plain of Jordan. The choice was excellent in a worldly point of view, but he seems to have been too much under the influence of a selfish and covetous spirit. So in verse 11, we read, Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. Lot foolishly selected the areas near Sodom and left the promised land, never to return. And folks, that is the saddest moment of Lot and Abram's relationship. We'll get something else later, but right now, Lot thought he was getting the better deal. Little did he know what was about to come up.